We're in the office of Lauren Connell, and Lauren is the Director of Instruction for Williamsburg Independent Schools. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today, Lauren, just has to do with, I guess, some of the issues facing small school systems. Well, before we begin, why don't you tell us how you got into the administrative role?
Well, I've been in this job for 7 years, and beforehand had been in the classroom for about 8.5. Basically, I got into teaching because I love being around kids, and to be perfectly honest, the coaching aspect was very appealing. And over the course of time, and as I progressed through my education post bachelor's degree, took a liking to some of the things that I saw in the job that I'm doing now, and just happened to be in a position at a very young age. I'm very fortunate at a real young age this position came open, and apparently interviewed very well for it, and 7 years later this is where we're at.
Well, I always tell the students that being in administration is a place where you can really affect some change. Not that being a classroom teacher is not tremendously important, but as an administrator you have an opportunity to implement some change and make a difference.
Absolutely. A lot of my job is to spearhead that change academically. A lot of it is through curriculum. A lot of it is through instruction, and a lot of it is through, surprisingly enough, how well that we can project and plan out, chart a course for a future with a vision, and then try to make our finances match up into meeting the objectives in that vision.
Well, yeah, I think you've summed up everything pretty much in a nutshell right there. Related to curriculum, what are some of the issues that you're facing right now related to alignment, sequencing, mapping? Talk about the curriculum.
Well, this is a critical time in Kentucky. We're just beginning to enter it. The Department of Education, as a matter of fact, today is February the 9th, and tomorrow there's a very unique meeting that's going to take place between the Kentucky Board of Education, the Education Professional Standards Board, and the Council on Post-Secondary Education, and they are expected to jointly approve a set of Common Core standards, which will be the new curriculum. For years and years we've called it core content. The Common Core standards will replace that. And probably the issue that we're looking at right now is based on the timelines that the state assessment is going to change. When are we going to begin implementing the new curriculum? Are we going to try to begin implementing it slowly, perhaps beginning this summer and working through over the course of 2 years, or are we going to wait another year and then really hit it hard in 2011, 2012? That's probably the biggest issue facing curriculum people right now, and it is a major issue.
Do you think this represents a little more state involvement in what we're doing at the local level, or just a change of things?
It's my understanding that the Department of Education plans to support this in a more assertive fashion than what they have with the Kentucky programs of studies in the past. So hopefully that will end up being true, and for people going into administration and for people just going into teaching in general, this, you can look at it as either the greatest of times or the worst of times to be going into the field. You will be on very much a level playing field with experienced teachers specific to the new standards. It'll depend on how easy the transition will be. Is largely dependent on the way the standards are written.
Of course, the worst thing that can happen is to have mandates that are unfunded. We like involvement to a certain extent. We resist involvement to a certain extent, but involvement that has money behind it is, I guess, if you're going to have involvement, that's the best kind of involvement.
Funding is going to be a critical element in how successful Senate Bill 1 is enacted, and it's my understanding that the Department of Education is really dependent or hoping to get Race to the Top funds. If they do, will make the transition from the current core content 4.1 into these Common Core standards go a lot easier, and I think the state will be able to support the transition.
Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit. This is a Williamsburg Independent School, has a great reputation and does a wonderful job. Part of that, in fact a big part of that, is keeping the staffing where it needs to be. I know that all of us know that this is somewhat a buyer's market right now. I'm sure if you have an opening, you probably have a lot of applications for that opening. What are you looking for here in this system when you're seeking out a new employee, an instructional employee?
Well, first of all, our applicant pool is as large as I've seen it in the 7 years, and I believe last summer, to set this in perspective, we had 120 applications for 3 positions, and it is a buyer's market. One of the things in a small system, of course, and we always begin with this in an interview, is we want a teacher first, but we want somebody who is very open to the idea of helping out with extracurricular activities, and we will start with that, at least even in a pre-screening. So it's important when you begin looking at a teaching position, if you are willing to do something extracurricular, that you need to be sure to communicate that. As far as what we look for is in a job candidate, we look for somebody who, first of all, is going to be very consistent. We want them to be comfortable staying here for a long period of time. And as you know, having lived here in this community and having sent a daughter through our school system, that the openings are few and far between, and it's one of the real strengths of our school district is that there's very little transition that takes place. We've had a gap of time 6 or 7 years ago where that maybe backslid a little bit, but we're getting back into a position where when we hire somebody, the commitment expectation is for the 27 years if you are a new teacher. That is something else, especially in an interview situation, if you do interview with us, that we would like for you to bring out that, you know, that you've done a little bit of research, you know that there's very little transition, and you would be more than happy to stay with us the entire time of your career. As with what I would believe to be any school district, we want to know how you're going to instruct. You need to be willing or very ready and willing and able in an interview to tell us how you would set up a 30-minute math lesson on whatever topic that we feel necessary. If you're going to be an elementary school teacher, obviously we'll narrow that down in high school. You have to be able to present a very good classroom management plan that draws a very distinctive line between what the classroom teacher's role in management is and what an administrator's role in management is. And as much as anything else, again, I think one of the missing elements, some of the interviewees who miss the mark a little bit, is simply that they don't do enough research on our school district. They can't tell us about our academic reputation. They can't tell us the size of the district. They'll look online and see that there's an opening, and they'll send in an application, and if they do get a return phone call, those who get more consideration are able to tell us a little bit about our school and would show more interest in being a potential employee.
So it sounds like you're looking for a dedicated candidate who can do it all and wear a lot of hats, and you have to do that in a small system.
You do, and it's just one of the things that if a small district like us is going to offer the amount of extracurricular opportunities that larger districts do, somebody has to manage those, and we do spread our certified staff and actually our classified staff pretty thin on expectation to do things other than, let's just call it, their day job.